Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to today's B2B forum co-hosted by ENGIE and the French Chamber of Commerce in Singapore. Thank you for finding the time to join us. I am Louella Caridad, General Manager of NGs Services Philippines, one of the fastest growing entities under NG Southeast Asia. I am coming to you from our head office in the Philippines, where strategies and key activities emanate in supporting customers to achieve their energy efficiency and conservation goals from various key sectors in aviation, banking and finance, data center, hospitality, manufacturing, and real estate, among others. We provide investments and solutions for sustainable operations such as district cooling system, energy efficiency programs, IoT, integrated facilities management, rooftop solar, and large-scale renewable energy. I will be steering the conversation with our panelists based in Singapore towards the topic demonstrating leadership in an environmental, social, and sustainability era. Today, more than ever, leaders are either pushed for or are pursuing a sustainability agenda to introduce policies and business practices that promote positive environmental and social impacts within their organizations and communities. A growing number of clients, consumers, and benefactors choose to patronize vendors and service providers that push forth this agenda. What are the practices that promote environmental and social sustainability in business operations? And what are the challenges faced by leaders and organizations in sustainable development? These questions and more will be answered by our panelists this afternoon, and they are Jackson Chia, Group Chief Risk and Sustainability Officer of ComfortDelGro; Calvin Chung, Group Director of Engineering of JTC; and Thomas Baudlot, CEO of NGs Southeast Asia. You, our viewers, can join the conversation by typing your questions in the Q&A box, and we will have our panelists answer them during the program. It's now time to hear from our distinguished gentlemen, starting with Thomas Baudlot, CEO of NGs Southeast Asia. Thomas, sustainability is becoming more important for companies across all industries. Can you share what are some of the sustainability initiatives that your organization, or shall I say our organization, has implemented in the recent years?
Sure, of course. Thank you, Louella, and hi to everyone. I think NG holds a very special place in change towards a more sustainable way to do business. For those of you who don't know where we're coming from, NG is coming from the old way of producing electricity and energy. We were a part of the old world, and we had identified very early on, around 2015, that our business model, which was extremely carbon intensive, reliant on coal very much, was not a sustainable model, neither for the planet, but as a corporate, it would be a major threat for our future ability to generate profit and an acceptable level of activity. So we decided in 2015 to exit coal and to transform completely our business model towards a greener footprint. We were the first large independent power producer to do it. It was looked as a very bold move at the time, but I think time has proven us right, as along the way, a lot of our peers have engaged into similar change, which makes us extremely proud. And so if you look at where we stand after 5 years, we have slashed our CO2 footprint by 3 times. So our CO2 footprint has been divided by 3 in the span of 5 years. We have recently even announced that we will be carbon neutral by 2045, which is a big feat for us. And the most interesting thing is that as we were struggling in 2015 to sustain a level of activity that was growing, and we were struggling to keep our margin very much alive. Changing into a new sustainable business model has allowed us to renew with growth, to renew with profit. And that was a fantastic lesson learned for the whole group worldwide, that you can do good and good business at the same time. And so since then, we have really repositioned the way we do business with our partners. And we have become very much a sustainability partner of our corporate corporate clients, or cities clients. We are helping them to design, to plan for their change towards a more sustainable footprint. We are helping them to implement this change. And what I really want to highlight, and that's not necessarily a well-known fact, is that sustainable solutions are already fully available. They are mature, and they are cheaper than traditional ones. So there is an economical incentive, there is a business case to be made today for any corporates or any cities to engage into their sustainable transition. I can give a few examples. All across Southeast Asia, producing energy based on solar power source gives you access to an electricity that, it depends on the location, but 10, 20 to 30% less expensive than the one that would use a lot of carbon to produce. So that's the first thing. Getting access to green energy, putting solar on your rooftop is almost a no-brainer. It's good for the environment. It's good for your P&L. There are a number of solutions, either digitally enabled or technically enabled, that allow to save on energy consumption, to produce more efficient cooling. District cooling is one of them, but you can also work at the building level to make a lot of automation, reduce the use of energy energy need, without creating any discomfort or any change in the way people use a facility. And there is no cheaper, I like to say that there is no cheaper energy than the one you do not consume. So I think ENGIE is a good example by itself of what can be done in terms of pivoting towards a more sustainable business model. And there is no time to wait. You can engage into a transformation right now with very interesting economically solutions. So that's very positive.
Thank you, Thomas. It was indeed a bold move for NG, and it took a lot of courage and risk from management and all stakeholders, but it was worth it. And we saw how a global company can influence a larger group. Let me turn to Jackson Chia, Group Chief Risk and Sustainability Officer from ComfortDelGro. Good afternoon, Jackson, and please share with us some of the sustainability initiatives implemented in ComfortDelGro.
Yes, good afternoon, Louella, and good afternoon, everyone. As many are aware of, I think ComfortDelGro, we are one of the leading global operator, land transport operator. And today we operate in various major cities, I think from London, Melbourne, Sydney, I think to Singapore. Under the ComfortDelGro group, we have close to about 40,000 vehicles. So understanding that today transportation accounts for close to anywhere between 15 to 20% of the greenhouse gas of any urban cities, it is not surprising that as a group, the thing is we decided in 2018 to take our sustainability journey beyond merely reporting. So we, in a way, set up a sustainability office, I think, to actively pursue some of our strategies and plans, including developing a framework, the right targets, and also to track our ESG performance across the 3 domains. Over the last few years, I think we have embarked on several initiatives. In a way, pending the maturity of certain infrastructure like EV charging, the thing is we have made the decision to transit all our taxi fleets, I think from diesel, I think to hybrid as an interim stage. And today, I think after 3 years of effort, I think we are reaching something like close to about 60+% of our fleet is actually on hybrid or electric for the Singapore taxi fleet. At the same time, we are also looking at solutions to improve the energy efficiency of all our buildings and facilities. This include going green, going for the Eco Office Award. The thing is, in a way, the thing is changing out the inefficient chiller plant, and also using of LED lightings across all our train stations. The last track for the energy track is obviously in a way using of more renewables. This is where we truly in a way see a lot of potential. And that is where I truly agree, I think, with Thomas. The thing is the potential of renewable energies. I think we have implemented renewable solutions in our train depots. I think in Galibatu for the downtown line, and also in several of our bus depots that we operate in Singapore. And interestingly, the thing is, today, if we really look at the price point, I think, of solar energy, it has indeed dropped, I think, tremendously. The thing is compared to even 3 years ago. The thing is, so there is in fact a lot of potential, I think, on that count. But that itself is obviously the environmental effect. With 24,000 employees, I think, under our organization, I think we're also looking at the social part, I think, of the sustainability equation. This is where the thing is, we look back to ourselves, I think, as a transport operator, and ask ourselves what truly is our mission. It is really about, the thing is moving, connecting people and services. This is where the thing is we put in additional effort. The thing is to ensure the thing is enhance the route as well as the passenger safety, I think, of our commuters. I think we changed the escalator of our train stations to dual speed escalators so that the older folks, the thing is, will feel safer. The thing is, as they do their daily commute, use our train stations. We also introduced telematics, I think, for our drivings, for our bus captains, so that the thing is certain blind spots, the thing is they can be more aware of and thus reduce accidents. And of course, accessibility is also something that we work on, especially for the physically disadvantaged. So today, I think close to about 99.9%, I think, of our public buses in Singapore are all wheelchair in a way accessible. And we not only the thing is ensure that they are wheelchair accessible, we actually train our bus captains. The thing is every time when they hit a bus stop and they do see certain so-called people who need help, the thing is to stop the bus and go about helping. The thing is the physically disabled person board as well as alight the bus in a safe manner. In a way, the thing is we see sustainability and as a mega trend. And like it or not, I think as a global transport operator, I think we are just a microcosm of the whole global ecosystem. So in a way, the thing is this mega trend, I think, will continue. And I think for us, we are pretty excited by how things are moving. In fact, the thing is the onslaught, I think, of the COVID pandemic has in a way accelerated certain of this so-called transition towards a greener fleet, transition towards greater use of renewable energy. And that is something that we are truly excited. And I think we do see the thing is a good opportunity to build our enterprise into a sustainable one.
Thank you, Jackson. As the transportation sector has a big impact in the economy, it is indeed very interesting to hear the initiatives of ComfortDelGro to achieve sustainability. I'm sure our audience has found some initiatives they can apply to their businesses, especially thinking of client or customer safety and as well as accessibility. Thank you. So many firms acknowledge that sustainability can create long-term value. However, there are those who aspire to be sustainable, but find it hard to roll out and sustain green initiatives. As a leading infrastructure developer, I would like to welcome to the conversation Calvin Chung. Calvin, what were some of the challenges JTC faced in sustainable development and what was done to overcome them?
Thanks, Louella. I hope you can hear me.
Yes.
First and foremost, okay, JTC is a government agency. So one of our key mandate is to ensure the economic progress of Singapore. And one of the key issues, of course, the key pillar is manufacturing and industries. And therefore, well, maybe I would like to explain why we embark on sustainability. It's partly because we think that this is the global trend, and sooner or later, companies that are not sustainable will not be able to make it in business. So, in part, embarking on this sustainability is also our mandate, as I said earlier, to ensure the economic progress of Singapore. So that is the main reason. And I think the main challenge for us is, of course, having to strike a balance between economic progress and our pursuit for sustainability. So we take a very practical approach. We make sure that the sustainability initiatives that we roll out or we recommend to our industry are practical and economically viable. So from that perspective, a lot of the companies are still new to this area. So what we did was we ourselves as a company, because we also have our own operations, we operate our own buildings, etc. We will be the first one to test the technology, the sustainable technology. And I'm not talking about only new technology. A lot of time it's also about new business model. Thomas and Jackson talk about solar. Singapore has come quite a bit of a way in solar. In at least the last 2 years, we have seen a big push for it. And but it doesn't come just so naturally. In fact, other than the fact that the price of solar panel has come down very substantially, there are still many obstacles that we have to face, especially for first-time adopters. For example, there's no government standard governing it. The fire codes and the SCDF, for example, codes basically doesn't cater for it, and actually cause quite a bit of a problem for people who want to adopt solar, especially on the rooftop and even on vacant land or near buildings. And other than that, not every company has a huge power consumption. They might not be able to consume all the solar energy, and there must be a way for us to export it to the grid in order to reap the best benefit. Not only for the company themselves, but also for the Singapore as a whole, because we want to capture as much renewable energy as possible into the grid. So in terms of business model, it took us some time to figure out how to do it, how to work with SPPG to ensure that the connection to the grid is seamless and fast, and then work with authorities like BC and SCDF to smoothen out all the requirements. Only when we are sure that it works and the price, or rather the CBA makes sense, then after doing that by trying out ourselves, we then recommend it to our companies. And we, in our last few solar tenders, we have actually included the portion to allow our tenants and lessees to sign on to the same contract using the same rates that JTC had probably, and we hope that this will allow a very easy way for the industry and companies to come on board. And hopefully our rates, because of our scale, will be better than what they will get if they go and do it, procure the solar panel themselves. So that is one obstacle that we had to really figure out the new technology and new business model, and make sure that it's viable before we push it down to the companies. That being said, I think we are also, like what Jackson shared earlier, we also think that in order to push for this sustainability, we also need to look at the social part. In fact, in our estates, that is exactly what we're trying to do. In our regular interaction with the companies, we are now starting to inject the conversation of sustainability as something that we will talk to them on regularly. And we hold events, for example, tree planting or coral relocation exercises. We try to involve all the community members to come together to do it. The purpose is not so much about co-sharing the cost. That's actually not really our focus, or rather our objective, but rather to bring along the notion of sustainability and to the people in our estates to make sure that they own it. Because when a tree that you plant yourself, I think you feel a sense of belonging to it, much more than if the tree just happened to be there miraculously after in the next day that you come to work. So that is the social part that we are doing. Well, I think that is how we approach sustainability. And there's also the other question about many firms find it very difficult to embark on it. So we as an agency, we also, and as well as a landlord, we think that we have a responsibility to introduce what is viable to them. And we are now also in the process of collating some of these lists of sustainability, what companies can do for sustainability. And also we're trying to work with the institution to figure out whether there are assessment and audit tools that they can do to even recommend improvement to their manufacturing processes to make their processes more sustainable. And then together with that, tie it to some incentives that the government may consider giving. So this is still in the works, but we recognize that it's really very difficult, especially for the smaller enterprises in Singapore. And we are trying to, I just want to assure you that everybody that JTC will try our best to pass this down to the companies and share our experience. Thank you.
Thank you, Calvin. Indeed, progress, economic viability, and sustainability can actually bring success to the company, to the community, and finding the balance is essential to nation building. Involving the community, giving them a chance to do something good, gives them ownership and commitment. And JTC proves that sustainability is a big boost for a group to be dynamic. Thank you. Moving on, let's take a crystal ball gaze into the future and look at how the push on sustainability today will change or impact the way we do business or relate to our customers and partners 5 to 10 years from now. Jackson, can we have you back? How has this changed the way of doing business today? And how do you envision this in the years to come?
Okay, I think one of the big change, I think, over the last 2 years, last 1.5 to 2 years, I think, despite the pandemic, is this push, I think, towards, I think, a net carbon zero, a net zero kind of scenario. And interestingly, the thing is, I think, looking back, the thing is, there are actually many countries who actually jump on the bandwagon on that. I think UK, the thing is, has committed themselves as a country to be net zero by 2050. That's one of the countries that we operate in. Australia, the thing is on the verge of committing to that. China is planning to hit net zero by 2060. I think for a country with 1.4 billion population, that is actually pretty phenomenal. And for Singapore, I mean, at the early part of this year, I think we have announced the Singapore Green Plan. And the thing is, the government has also committed, I think, to work towards net zero in the second half of this century. In a way, the thing is, with countries and cities committing to net zero, actually that spells a lot of potential, the thing is, for everybody. And at the same time, the thing is, while the thing is with this push towards net zero, the other end of technology is also moving pretty fast, not only in terms of renewable energies, but also in terms of other areas, from digitalization down to electrification of vehicles, down to battery technology, energy storage systems, so on and so forth. And this, in a way, it is that convergence of this desire to go net zero. The thing is to do good, to save the environment, to fight against climate change. And at the same time, the thing is this technology, the thing is acceleration, that will actually change a lot the whole equation of sustainability in the next 5 to 10 years, as I see it. Interestingly, even as a transport operator, the thing is, of recent, I think we have actually received a lot of inquiries, I think, from prospective so-called customers about helping them to achieve net zero. I mean, the thing is, even for a small island like Singapore, while the government, I think, has committed to the green brand, the thing is, while they are a little so-called, the thing is unsure about the net zero goals, you have organizations like Sentosa Development Corp, you have organizations like NUS all committing to the net zero vision. And not only the thing is for 2050, but 2030. So the thing is, as a transport operator, we ourselves, we are very surprised at the same time that the thing is, and they are approaching us to inquire about how we can actually go about helping them to do it. And the most interesting part is transport is actually the things at the confluence of change. I think with electrification as well as with autonomy. So this is where I guess partnership and collaboration truly comes in. I think in the next 5 years and 10 years to find solutions, to more importantly also to find that convergence, I think, between sustainable solutions and also business interests. And if we can do it well, then I think we can set the benchmark, a good template for emulation by other businesses to go on this sustainable bandwagon. It is obviously never easy. I think at times there's a little bit of a leap of faith. The thing is, there is, of course, I think is a lot of help required, I think, from different stakeholders, including the authorities. But I guess the thing is with the push, I think, from the government or many governments around the world itself, it should be something within reach, I think, for many countries. And I think, again, the thing is, as a transport operator, which is global in nature, I think as we look across our various geographies, I think from London, zero emission zones, you know, to their use of renewables, testing of hydrogen buses, to Australia, in a way, the thing is going to, I mean, the thing is introducing, I think, low emission zones, I think, across different parts of the cities. I think we are, in a way, cautiously optimistic that the thing is, this push towards sustainability will continue. And more importantly, I think it will accelerate in terms of momentum. And therefore, the thing is, this goal of the net zero, I think, for enterprises, I think for cities, I think for countries, will be something that not only, I think, will help us fight climate change, but will be able to transform, I think, the human lives, I think, every one of us, I think, towards a better future. So in a way, the thing is, I'm optimistic, I think, of that future, if I have to gaze into that crystal ball.
I agree with you. National leaders and business leaders really need to continuously find ways to include sustainability efforts to stay relevant. And sharing technology and knowledge is one of the keys to success. I also think that some organizations tend to think that they have to do something grand and complex the first time. But they can actually start with small initiatives and build on them gradually. Thank you, Jackson. So for those of you who have just joined us, we have three distinguished gentlemen in the panel, and they are Jackson Chia from ComfortDelGro, Calvin Chung from JTC, and Thomas Baudlot from NG Southeast Asia. They are sharing their thoughts, challenges, and initiatives in demonstrating leadership in an environmental, social, and sustainability era. So let's take this opportunity to learn more from these leaders. Our audience can key in their questions in the Q&A board, and I will direct some of them now to these gentlemen. I would like to ask the next question to Calvin and Thomas. So first with Calvin. So JTC being the leading agency spearheading the planning, promotion, and development of a dynamic industrial landscape in Singapore, what is your comment on this? So the statement is, no government or company can solve today's sustainability challenges alone. If you could have one silver bullet to kickstart a project or an initiative to accelerate a carbon neutral future, what would that be? Calvin?
Well, thanks. It's a difficult question to answer. Well, I think you have exactly say very correctly, especially applicable to Singapore. We are really a very small country. All the natural resources that we need when it comes to power and to some extent water has to be imported. In fact, we have a relatively vibrant manufacturing sector and industry sector. Again, these companies are importing materials from overseas. So for us, and the other point is that Singapore is an island state, and we are almost going to be very, very affected by climate change, especially sea level rise and heavy rainfall, if we don't do something about it. In fact, in a sense, because our contribution to the emission is disproportionate in terms as compared to the amount of impact that climate change will have on Singapore. So we take this question very seriously. And frankly, I don't have one answer to the silver bullet. And what I can think of is that Singapore, one thing about us is that we are pretty focused, and we also have the resolution to make things work when we want to put our heart into it. And the fact that we have announced our green plan, the government has announced our green plan, and the focus is of the green plan is to mobilize the whole country towards sustainability. This itself, I think, is already a silver bullet because it shows the importance of this agenda for our nation. And with that, we also pass down the message to every single citizen in Singapore to try to make a difference. So like what you said earlier, sustainability is about doing things, not only about doing big things. It's about doing all the small things and add them together. And I think with this Singapore Green Plan, we will start to have this going. But that being said, one of the key area perhaps that we can watch is in the energy space. Why do I say that? It's because almost, at least for Singapore, majority of our carbon emission comes from the provision of generation of energy. So if there's a way for us to generate renewable energy that is economically equivalent, or if not slightly higher, but still viable as compared to the current mode of generation, I think that will really make a big difference, and perhaps would be the silver bullet for us to help in our zero carbon target and journey. But that being said, while watching this space, we still have to worry about resilience. We cannot be overly reliant on one particular energy import source, and that is why we have been diversifying where we are importing our energy, our water, our food, and everything that we import for our survivability, to make sure that we can survive even during the worst time. For example, the COVID situation has actually given us a very big reminder that the resilience is a very important thing to do. So I'm sorry, I don't have a very good answer for you, but my answer actually in my own mind is that the fact that the Singapore government has made this commitment, I think it by itself is really quite a big bullet. Thank you.
Commitment is good enough. Thank you, Calvin. Let me repeat the question for Thomas. So Thomas, if you could have one silver bullet to kickstart a project or an initiative to accelerate a carbon neutral future, what would that be?
I think the silver bullet question, yes, it's a challenging one. What I take from the intervention of my fellow panelists is that action is already ongoing. There is a lot that can be started today, or that is being started today by corporates. And if you take what ENGIE is trying to build, especially in the region, is to work on the single initiatives that we see as very promising and try to transform them towards scalable business models, scalable solutions. This is exactly why we've been partnering very recently with JTC to help the district of Punggol become a greener district, leveraging on the efficiency of district cooling, which consists of an infrastructure to provide air conditioning to a whole neighborhood, and which is very much more efficient than a traditional way to cool a building. This is why we have partnered the ComfortDelGro to support them in their transformation towards electric mobility. So the idea is really to take solutions that are proven, that are economically sensible today, and really to try to deploy them at scale. A bit like what you're seeing happening worldwide with the production of green energy. As I said in my introduction, the energy from the sun is already the cheapest today in the region. It's also true from wind power in other places of the world. And that really drives a huge push, a huge level of investment, trillions of investment, to shift our energy production worldwide towards an energy system based on the use of renewable. This is absolutely great. The little perk or inconvenience of renewable energy is that it's intermittent by nature. You don't have sun 24/7, you don't have wind 24/7, and therefore at the current state where we stand today, there is a bit of challenge to provide 24/7 energy that's based on green power energy source. So if I had to choose one silver bullet to allow us to use full-time on a baseload basis, as we say in the sector, green energy, my answer would be cheap storage. The great thing, again, and I am also positive, like my fellow panelists, is that it's coming, I believe. The classic battery cost is getting slashed as electric vehicles are getting deployed at scale worldwide. So that in the 5 to 10 years time, you will have a very compelling business case to mix solar energy production with a lithium-ion battery or solid-state battery, for example. And the next gen storage system that is getting a lot of traction today, and which I believe will happen in a 10-year time frame, is green hydrogen. With hydrogen, you can leverage on green energy sources to produce a hydrogen that has not used a single atom of, and which can be stored in the long run, can be used for heavy appliance, industrial process, or heavy transportation, such as air transport. So we are already doing a lot worldwide. It's positive. We have short-term technologies happening, which are very promising in the storage space. And in a 10 years time frame, I really hope hydrogen will be the next transformation factor. And if you combine all of this, well, we have everything we need to go towards a greener world. It's just a matter of planning, executing. And along the way, what's very fascinating and very exciting is that we're creating new needs for new competencies, for new skills. And if you take a social perspective, that means great jobs, opportunities, and that translates already into our today reality at NG, where we're hiring new competencies, where we're always looking for new skills, where we're training our workforce, and that's only going to accelerate and continue. So quite exciting.
Okay, thank you, Thomas. You've mentioned some challenges in the production and use of green power. Would you like to continue and share with us today's leadership challenges in this era of environment, social, and sustainability?
Yeah, so yeah, I mentioned, I touched base in a bit of challenges. Intermittency, so it's a technical challenge, intermittency of renewable, but it gets solved by mixing the type of renewable you are using. It will be solved in the future with efficient and cost effective battery and storage solutions. So I have no doubt we have all the tools at hand to move towards a purely green energy system. One other aspect, and there was a question on the chat around this, was about the financing, the availability of financing resources to engage into that transformation of our whole energy system. Well, we're living in a world where liquidity is abundant, where a lot of governments are setting up stimulus plan to fight against COVID impact on our economies, and which are engaging a lot of infrastructure spending into modernizing our systems. And that's a great opportunity. Liquidity is available, cash is relatively inexpensive, and that's the perfect time to invest into the transformation of our energy system. It can be done at the country level, it can be done at the city level, it can be done at the corporate level. Change has never been that inexpensive. I believe the cost of waiting and procrastinating on change would far outweigh the cost of changing today. I don't believe a company that doesn't start its sustainability transformation today would find easy to recruit 5 years from now, would find easy to find shareholders 5 years from now, would find easy to sell its product on the market, because we are moving towards an area of more transparency on the CO2 footprint of our activities, and on the market, our impact on the environment is becoming more and more clear, more and more firm. So I believe a few challenges to obviously in changes, but nothing like not entering the transformation wagon right now.
Thank you, Thomas. Yes, I think in my experience also, many companies would like to have the sustainability programs, energy efficiency programs, but then it's really when you talk about the financial aspect of it, that's when they take a step back. So having partners who can invest is really very good, and it can push forth the agenda. So we have one last question to everyone, and this is from Derek Lee. So does achieving net zero carbon neutrality require significant capital investment for companies? So we've just been talking about it, and because companies may be reluctant if sustainability impacts the bottom line. So Jackson has shared his answer, but would you like to share it with everyone, Jackson?
Okay, I think that's a good question from Derek. That will certainly be a key concern, perhaps even as recent as 5 years today. But today, again, the thing is with the advancement of technology, whereby the thing is we are in this age of exponential, the thing is growth in technologies. I would think that the thing is it has never been a better time. I shared with Derek, in my answer that the price point, of the solar energy, it is a very good example where technologies, in improving, the efficiency, the thing is of the solar panels, compared to 10 years ago, actually has made it in a way the thing is a worthwhile investment. 10 years ago, the thing is many companies would actually be very reluctant, to go into any of the solar solutions as compared to today. Similarly, I guess the thing is energy storage systems, batteries, district coolings, all this has in a way advanced a lot. And you do see that the thing is people are more prepared to go into it because today the ROI, the thing is they can really see that ROI. And more importantly, I guess the thing is not only a technology, the thing is with everybody, the thing is going on this bandwagon of the net zero, there will also be building an ecosystem of collaboration and partnership. That is something that will be pretty crucial. The thing is to help in a way, not only the thing is to share the cost, but also the risk of some of such investments. In a way, the thing is net zero itself is always a good goal, but it is not something that the thing is we can achieve in one big leap. The thing is, it will take many small steps along the way. The thing is partnerships, projects. Sometimes you don't get it right. The thing is you can pivot somewhere, but I think eventually the thing is it will be a worthwhile investment and journey to embark on.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, Jackson. Now we have come to the end of the session. We hope this conversation will continue within your organizations. I would like to thank the leaders who led the conversation today: Jackson Chia of ComfortDelGro, Calvin Chung of JTC, and Thomas Baudlot of Southeast Asia. The B2B meeting will start just after this session. On behalf of the French Chamber of Commerce and ENGIE, I am Louella Caridad, thanking all of you for your participation. Please look out for the post-event recording on LinkedIn and via the FCCS website. Thank you everyone once again, and keep safe. Mabuhay.